All right. Good morning, everyone. As you all know from yesterday, we are continuing our lesson on the last stop, Market Street. So, before we get into finishing the book, I wanted to go over our reading prompts and I wanted to ask a few questions before we continue reading. So, one of the questions I want to ask is describe what you know about life in a busy city. So that could be like things you hear, things you see, things you would do in a busy city. So I'll start and then you can answer after I do. So, one thing that I notice or think of when I think of urban communities or city life is tons of people, big crowds, tons to do, so many familiar faces that you've seen all throughout the place. So, let's see what you all have to say. Yeah, definitely buses. Those are big in cities like New York. Taxis too. Okay. Those are all good answers. All right. And then the next one is who helps make a community function smoothly? So I will lead and you can answer. So, one thing that helps a community run smoothly is unity or togetherness. So, neighbors helping neighbors, honestly. So, I'll give you guys an example. If I needed something and I didn't have it, I would go ask my neighbor. And if they had it and they were kind enough to help me, then when they needed help, I would go help them. So I think that would be a good example of what helps or who helps make a community function smoothly. And then the next one, which is our last prompt before we get into the book, how can people in the same place experience it differently? So I'm going to explain this the best way I know how. So people that live in the same place can experience it differently because of their family, their beliefs or rules, and who they are as a person. So, for example, I experience life differently because I believe that everyone is a good person. Well, if someone doesn't, then their experience of life is going to be a tad bit different from mine. And I could see it from their perspective too. Now, we're going to get into finishing the book. So, I believe we stopped in the middle. So, yeah, right about here is where we stopped. So, I'm going to read this part right here and then I'm going to ask two questions. It says, "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. So, my next question is, what do the pictures show about CJ's community? So, I'm going to show both pages. So, what do you all notice about the second picture? You see bunches of different people. Okay. And they're all on what? A bus. So, you see all these different people on a bus. Does that relate to how can people in the same place experience it differently? Yes or no? Okay, yeah, it can. And the next one is, what can we learn from CJ, or what does CJ learn from Nana through their conversations? So I'm going to continue reading while you think about that. So here's the next page. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. How come we always gotta go here after church? CJ said. Miguel and Kobe never have anywhere to go. I feel sorry for those boys, she told him. They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man. And I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat. CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side and watched a group of boys hop curbs on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. How come the man can't see? Boy, what do you know about seeing? Nana told him. Some people watch the world with their ears. That's a fact. Their noses, too, the man said, sniffing the air. It's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am. Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by, stood in the back. Sure, wish I had one of those, he said. Nana set down her knitting. What for? You got the real-life thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song? CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound. And the sound gave him the feeling of magic. The song ended, and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone on the bus clapped, even the boys in the back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm, and CJ dropped it in the man's hat. The last stop on Market Street, Mr. Dennis called. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus, crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti-tagged windows and boarded-up stores. He reached for Nana's hand. How come it's always so dirty over here? She smiled and pointed to the sky. Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful. CJ saw a perfect rainbow arcing over the soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful where he never even thought to look. He looked around them again, at the bus rounding the corner out of sight, and the broken street lamp still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the wall. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, I'm glad we came. He thought Nana might laugh, her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, Me too, CJ. Now come on. The end. So, back to our question. What does CJ learn from Nana through their conversations? He learns the beauty of the city and how things that could be seen as a perspective or a privilege can actually be good. And how does the city setting shape CJ's experience? Well, it shapes his experience by letting him see the diversity of the community and the diverse experiences that people around him have. For example, the blind man, and how even though he cannot see the world, he can use his other senses to see the world around him without actually having to use his eyes. And what does grateful mean based on Nana's use of the word? So I'm going to go find the word and I will read it to you. I will read the sentence to give you perspective. Pardon me, y'all. Miss Emery is having a hard time finding this. Okay, so Miss Emery cannot find that. But what do you think grateful means based on Nana's use of the word? So when I think of grateful, I think of being thankful for something that I have. So, for example, Miss Emery is thankful for her family and for her pets. That is what I think of when I think grateful, is that I'm happy to have what I have because there are people that don't have what I have. Now, for our after reading prompts, what does CJ learn about appreciating his community? So as you can see by the end of the book, he says he's happy that they're at the soup kitchen. So, with that, what do you think he learned? Okay. So, what I think is that CJ learned to appreciate the small things and being able to help those in his community that are probably a little less fortunate than him and his Nana, but also he gets to see their perspective on life and how they experience it. And then the next one is, how does the story show the beauty of diverse communities? So we're going to go look at the pictures again. So we're going to look at the pictures from the beginning too. And I want you guys to pay close attention to the people. So here's Nana and CJ leaving the church. Nana and CJ walking to the bus stop. Nana and CJ waiting at the bus stop. So here's the one I really want you to pay attention to. And this one, on this page, all the different people on the bus. So as you can see, there's a little accessibility plaque in the back. Nana, CJ, the elderly woman with curlers, and this nice young gentleman with tattoos. The blind man and his dog, Nana, CJ, the elderly woman with curlers, nice gentleman with a tattoo, and what looks to be like a woman expecting a baby. The man with the guitar, and where the soup kitchen is. Take a good look at the buildings. The rainbow over the soup kitchen. And finally, the line of people waiting. And as you can see, there's Miss Trixie. There's a young man in a wheelchair. So, how did the illustrations help show the beauty of diverse community? So, what I see when I look at those pictures and how the story shows the beauty of diverse communities, I see different people, like the young gentleman with the tattoo, the blind man, the elderly woman with butterflies and curlers. I can infer that the woman with butterflies is probably an insect collector. But I see all these different people in one place taking the bus on a wet, rainy Sunday afternoon, just trying to get to where they're getting to. And CJ's seeing all these different people, and he starts to slowly embrace the beauty of the way the community is. And our last prompt, why do you think the author chose a city setting? So, Miss Emery here, I think that the author chose a city setting because there's plenty of people in a city. If you think about, somewhere outside the city, there's not going to be a lot of people. So if the story was set outside the city, it would play out a whole lot differently than it would in the city. Now, I went ahead and I used all of our responses from yesterday to build our anchor chart. So here it is. That's all our responses on the anchor chart. And so, as we discussed, our central message was finding beauty, gratitude, and helping others. So that's what that shows. Now, I did want to go over our vocab words before I turn you loose to answer your questions. So, our vocab is privilege, perspective, opportunity, community, diverse, grateful, and appreciation. So, Miss Emery went and made some models to show everyone what these words mean. So, our first word is privilege. So, the definition is a special benefit or advantage. A characteristic of it is unequal access or special treatment. So, for example, a privilege would be having your own phone and your friend doesn't. So, your friend can't afford the phone, but you have one. Or getting an extra reward when someone else can't. And a non-example is being treated fairly. So everyone getting the same thing. Our next word is opportunity. So opportunity just means a chance to do something. The characteristics are a possibility or chance to do something. Examples: joining a new club and being given a chance at joining a sports team. Some non-examples are not being allowed to try or just being denied from the get-go. Our next word is appreciate. To value or enjoy something. Our characteristics are respect, gratitude, and awareness. Examples: thanking someone, showing someone kindness. Non-examples: complaining or being ungrateful about what you have. Diverse. Having many types or differences, variety,